Hi, welcome to Zone Coverage. We're here at Stewart's TV and Appliance, our weekly look at everything having to do with the Cleveland Browns. I'm Scott Petrak, Browns beat writer for the Chronicle Telegram, Medina Gazette, and BrownsZone.com. And this is Jim Ingraham, our sports columnist. Well, Jim, let's get to it. Indianapolis 31, Cleveland 28. What was your greatest takeaway?
No one on the team can apparently catch a football. They tried a lot of different guys, and it was a problem the entire game. And it's bad in any kind of situation, but when you got a rookie quarterback that's just trying to get his feet on the ground and you got receivers that can't catch the football, you're just spinning your wheels.
Yeah, that was a huge issue, and it's probably going to be an issue all year. And I want to get back to that in a minute. I want to talk about the defense too, though. They gave up 4 straight touchdowns on 4 straight possessions in the first half. Dig a huge hole for Deshaun Keiser in the offense to try to dig out of. Now, Greg Williams, a coordinator, I like him. I think he's a better coordinator than Ray Horton, the guy he replaced. And I think the defense has shown improvement. But if you're going to make the big claims that Greg Williams makes every week in the boasts, don't you think you have to back it up better than 28 points to a Colts offense that has Jacoby Brissett at quarterback and only one real weapon in T.Y. Hilton?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, they're the mirror image of the Browns. I mean, they were using Keiser's not a backup quarterback, but the Colts are using a backup quarterback. They hadn't won a game, and you would think this impact defensive coordinator could devise something that would be a little bit more obvious that they're making progress and, shut them down once in a while. But the first half, it was almost the Colts didn't know what to call because everything was working.
You're right. And, I know they don't have Myles Garrett, who we might see back this week, and they didn't have Jamie Collins. But it does make you question the move to cut Joe Hayden. They look like a team that needs a number one cornerback, and we don't know if Joe is still at the number one cornerback level, but when T.Y. Hilton does what he does and Antonio Brown did what he did in week 1, It makes you wonder about that move.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the theories is that quarterback after quarterback is the most important spot on the field, and I think we're seeing that now because the Browns clearly have a weakness at that position, and it's going to show up every week because most of the teams have at least one good receiver, and unfortunately the Browns can't play themselves. So this is going to be, like you said, an ongoing problem until they find somebody that can cover a receiver or outmaneuver a defender as a receiver.
Yeah. Now let's go back to the offensive side. We've talked about Deshaun Keiser. We will continue to do it all season, and we've talked about the receivers. So my question to you this week is, Deshaun Keiser's thrown 7 interceptions, and his completion percentage is about 53. Do you blame him more, or do you blame the receivers more for his early lack of success?
Initially, I thought it was about 50-50, but after the Colts game, I think it's way over on the ledger of the receivers, the alleged receivers, let's call them, because it's frustrating for any quarterback, but for him, and I got to give Keiser credit. He's saying all the right stuff after these games. He's saying I've just got to make better throws, but you don't have to have a PhD in football to see what's going on here. I mean, he hits the guys in the chest with the ball or in the hands, and the ball ends up on the ground. Now, if you're going to have any kind of offense, and you're breaking in a rookie quarterback, the least you can do is have guys that can catch the ball to get him some gains and keep away from the second and third and long.
Sure, and it's not only the drops, it's also the timing and the lack of chemistry, and we've seen that because they've shuffled guys into that receiver position. They cut Jordan Leslie and bring him back, and he actually made the best catch of the game. They did the same with Rashard Higgins, and it makes you wonder, it makes you question the supporting cast that they put around this rookie quarterback when they knew they were going to start a rookie quarterback, and they knew they had huge question marks at receiver. And you're asking him to make pinpoint throws when he doesn't know where the receivers are going to be, and it makes him look bad when I really don't think a lot of it is his fault, like you said. That brings us to the roster question. Now, Hugh Jackson was asked Monday in his weekly day-after-loss press conference about the roster and if it can win now. And he had two parts of his answer, and we'll get to the second part in a minute. The first part was, can they win now? He said yes. We need to coach better. We need to play better. But I ask you, are they built? Is this roster, the youngest roster in the league, is it built to win now?
No, I think this is this looks like year 2 of a team that stripped it down to the studs last year and is trying to rebuild it now. And no, it's not built to win now. It may win a couple games along the way, and this should have been one of them probably. Yeah. And the next 2 they have a chance. But there's no way you can do what you did to this roster and then say and expect people to believe that this is a team that can win now. It can't win now. It can hope to get better now, and that's about as high as it goes.
Well, and they have 33 players that are rookie, first year, or in their second year. And there's only 53 on the roster, which just shows you the depths that they have to go to be a contender. It shows you what they're asking Hugh Jackson to compete with, and it's Hugh Jackson that gets the record. He's 1-18. Nobody calls Sashi Brown 1-18. They call Hugh Jackson 1-18. And you're right. They're not built to win now. They can win a game here or there, but it would be a surprise. I think any time they won would be a surprise, and that's not how it's supposed to be in the NFL. It's supposed to be set up for parity and for anybody to have a chance every week. So the second part of that Hugh Jackson answer was, you need to talk to Sashi about that. Now, when he refers you to the head of football operations in his press conference, which he doesn't do very often, does that signal, is that a sign of discontent between the coaching staff and the front office?
Well, I think it's a sign that there's some frustration on the part of Hugh Jackson, what he's got to work with. You see this in any sport where they start lateraling the responsibility or the accountability for what's going on to some other person. That's not a good sign as far as everyone being together on this whole which direction we're going to go with all these roster decisions and all the other decisions we made. So I think this is probably something that bears watching as we move forward, because if they keep losing and he's already saying, we'll go talk to Sashi about that, that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah, to me, that's the key. If they keep losing, which we haven't seen any reason to believe they won't keep losing, then where does it get bad? And do they fight for Jimmy Haslam to keep one and not the other? How bad does the disconnect get? I think that's what bears watching, and it's not there yet because Hugh continues to say the right things about Sashi trying to improve the roster, but I think we have to watch it as the year goes on. Finally, let's look ahead to this Sunday. They host Cincinnati, who's also 0-3, but coming off an overtime loss at Green Bay, which shows progress for Cincinnati. Jim, we talked about how important this 3-week stretch is, and they got off to a bad start in Indianapolis. Can the Browns finally get that win this week?
Well, on paper, they're both 0-3. You'd say, yeah, they could do this, and they're playing at home this week, so that should be worth a little bit. But, they've yet to take a step forward in this season. They played Steelers game was probably their best one, even though they lost that one. And then the Ravens, they looked bad. The Colts, they looked even worse. So, you've got to at some point move forward and start to show you're making progress with the talent and the roster you have. And we haven't seen that yet, so I would tend to say no, they probably can't.
I'm with you. I think they could, right? I mean, this is a winnable game as far as winnable games go, but I don't expect them to win. I think Andy Dalton is more polished right now in his career than Deshaun Keiser is. He's beaten the Browns plenty of times. He's lost a few. And to me, most importantly, he has A.J. Green at receiver. We talk about Antonio Brown and T.Y. Hilton. A.J. Green's as good as those guys, and the Browns just don't have a counter. If Kenny Britt's your best counter, you're in trouble. So I have Cincinnati 20, Cleveland 17. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week at Stewart's TV and Appliance.